In this problem, we're told that the sun casts a shadow from a flagpole. The height of the pole is 3 times the length of its shadow. The distance between the end of the shadow and the top of the flagpole is 20 feet. And we're asked to find the length of the shadow and the length of the flagpole, rounding to the nearest tenth of a foot if necessary. So, as always, first things first, let's draw the picture. So let's call this the flagpole. And it's going to be a triangle casting a shadow that goes down this way. This is going to be the height of the flagpole. We'll call that H. And then this is the length of the shadow. We can call that L or B because it's technically the base of a right triangle here. For now, we'll just go ahead and leave that blank until we put it in terms of the height. But then we're also told that the distance between the end of the shadow, which is over here, and the top of the flagpole, which is up here, we're told that is 20 feet. We're told the height of the pole is 3 times the length of its shadow. So H equals 3 times the length of its shadow, 3L. So what does that tell us about L in and of itself? We're also told, again, that the height is 3 times the length of the shadow. So we could call this L, and that means H equals 3L. Now, how can we put this all together? We have two of the sides in terms of L. The key is that it's this right triangle. It's a right angle, so we can use the Pythagorean theorem. We know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So in other words, L squared plus h squared equals 20 squared, the hypotenuse squared. We can do this a couple different ways, but since we already have h in terms of L, let's just go ahead and replace h. So we have L squared plus, what's h in terms of L? It's 3 times L, 3 times the length of this shadow. So 3L, that's still squared, equals, and 20 squared is 400. So then that's going to give us L squared plus 3 squared is 9, L squared is L squared equals 400, which is going to give us 10L squared equals 400, which is going to give us L squared equals 40, which gives us L equals the square root of 40, which equals 2 times the square root of 10, which is approximately 6.3 feet. So the length of the shadow is 6.3 feet. So how do we find the height? Well, the height is 3L, so 3 times the length of the shadow. So H equals 3L, which equals 3 times 2 times the square root of 10, which equals 6 times the square root of 10, which is approximately 19.0 feet. Now, notice if we just multiplied 6.3, our rounded figure for the length of the shadow, and multiplied that by 3, we wouldn't get 19.0, we would get 18.9. Usually on a free response question, there's going to be a little bit of leeway. On a multiple choice question, it's not going to be within that tenth. But when we use the exact value and then took the decimal approximation, notice that we ended up with 19.0 instead of 18.9. So that tells us that the length of the shadow to the nearest tenth of a foot is 6.3 feet, and the length of the flagpole, we'll go ahead and call it the length of the flagpole since that's what it was asking for. The length of the flagpole to the nearest tenth is going to be 19.0 feet. And if you wanted to check that, just plug those into the Pythagorean theorem, verify that it does end up giving us that distance from the end of the shadow to the top of the flagpole being 20 feet.